So unless you're around some like very obscure fan sites in the video game space around 2008, you probably never heard of a game called Off. And I never heard about this game until recently. I kept getting emails about this for a while, about how it's one of the most influential turn-based RPGs in the last 20 years. And I'm like, okay. And I looked at the art, I looked at some of the gameplay. I was like, okay, this has some interesting concepts. I do like a good turn-based RPG. I like a good indie game. I like something that's kind of outside of the box of what an RPG is supposed to be. I was like, okay, I'll wait on it. I didn't really see a demo on it, but then I started playing it and I'm like, okay, this game is exactly what it touted itself to be. It is very bizarre. It's very interesting. But at this time, I'm not entirely sure. I'm only a couple hours into it, but that's the thing. This game is not entirely long. It's about 5 to 6 hours in total. So it's not like a standard RPG type of timing. But you may be asking yourself, what is Off all about? The description in the Steam page says, I'm the batter. I've been entrusted with a sacred mission. One of the most influential RPGs of the last 20 years finally coming to Steam. Take control of the batter as he seeks to purify an uncanny, hopeless world haunted by specters, guided by a cryptic, grinning cat called the Judge. And so this is a remaster of that game back in 2008. And so it's got a lot of people behind this. It actually was originally produced by a Belgian team. So a lot of the original language was in French, but then eventually it was translated into English back in 2011. And now it's finally been remastered and ported over for PC and Nintendo Switch. So everyone can play it today. It is out right now. What's interesting, it's got a lot of different composers on it. One of those being Toby Fox. Yes, Mr. Undertale himself has composed music for the remaster of Off. And I kind of see that. The vibes of Undertale are all over this game. So I'm wondering if Toby Fox was inspired by this game back in 2008. So maybe he was one of those people that played this game and was like, I want to make the game like this. So maybe they were right by saying this is one of the most influential RPGs, because I feel like if this did not exist, a game like Undertale may not have existed. So shout out to Off for being one of the first of its kind, so to speak. I don't know, it's very interesting. So yeah, Off is bizarre. It is really bizarre. So it does say that you are the batter, which is interesting because you're not playing baseball. You are essentially a priest. You're going around purifying spirits in one of the 4 different zones, and you're being guided by this cat. There's a lot of crazy and cryptic puzzle solving. In fact, the cat that you're talking to speaks in this like highfalutin language that is like really hard to understand if you don't really know English like that. And he speaks very, really, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I'm trying to parse down like his dialogue, and it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what it is. And you're talking to all of these people, and there's no like voice acting, but you hear kind of like these ghosts kind of prompts, and it's very creepy. All of the characters are kind of like this white and black feel. What is the gameplay? It is like a typical RPG. You have the batter, you have different types of attacks, you have a standard attack, and what will happen is that your essentially ATP bar or a bar at the bottom will charge up, and if you have enough speed, you will either attack first or the enemy will attack first. There might be a point where your bar kind of goes a little bit yellow and crazy, and that institutes a critical hit, and you can get that and your enemies can get that as well. But in addition to standard attacks, you also have these abilities called competences. So essentially like your magic system, and you have different attacks based off of what your competency meter is, or like your mana. It's a different word, but it essentially is the same thing. It's a mana bar, it's a magic bar, but they call it competences in this game. And the batter himself has different baseball-esque moves, but the moves have specific elements to them. So instead of things like fire and ice and wind and earth, you have things like metal and plastic, and I think later on I was reading it's like sugar. It's more man-made elements like plastic and metal. So it's a really interesting concept there. And of course, like any element and anything that you use, various characters or enemies have weaknesses and resistances to them. So you use those abilities based off the weaknesses. You have the ability to scan enemies and to see what their abilities are, and also to see what they are weak to and what they're resistant to as well. The batter will also get these things called add-ons, which is essentially like little rings that you see that have their own abilities, either to attack or to heal. And also you can level up, you can gain gear. Like in all the standard RPG stuff is there. It's very unique in its feel based on the world that you're in. Aspect ratio is more like a 14:3. Then you have what you're seeing as this more dynamic wallpaper at the back will change based on the area that you're in. I'm really fascinated by this game called Off, and I'm really interested to see how far this goes. From the trailers, it seems to be going in some crazy places. I'm already intrigued by what I've played so far. Hey, it's me, Editor Chike here. Hey, how you doing? While I was editing the video, I realized I forgot to talk about the puzzle solving, and there's some very confusing puzzle solving. I'm going to show off some of the puzzles that I have done so far. So if you wind up playing this game, you can refer to this video to solve those early puzzles. So roll the film. Go try Off, go play it, go see what you think about Off. Unfortunately, there's no demo of it, but I'm sure you can find any gameplay of it, and you're watching the gameplay of me play it behind me as well. So if you've played Undertale, if you played Deltarune, or any game that has inspiration from this, check out this one, because this is probably one of the first games to ever do something like this in this kind of bizarre RPG setting. I very much appreciate the review key on this to be able to shout this game out. Let me know if you've been playing it down in the comments. I want to know your thoughts and your feelings on this. Let me know how you feel about just the gameplay behind me or anything that you've seen about Off, and let me know if you ever played the original. Let me know if you played this back in 2008, and I'd be fascinated to know if you have. Let me know in the comments below. If you want to see any of the other games I'm playing, those videos will pop out behind me. Thank you so much for watching again. My name is Chike, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out.